another near no-hitter for baseball this season. New York Mets pitcher David Cone into the 8th inning with 2 outs before Philadelphia's Steve Jeltz lined a single to center, breaking up his no-hit bid. The Mets had plenty of offense to get Cone his 8th victory of the season against 1 loss. Darryl Strawberry here hitting his 16th home run of the season. Kevin McReynolds also hit one out as New York blanked the Phils 6-0. Cone winding up with a 2-hitter. His earned run average drops to 1.65. Second place Pittsburgh stays 6.5 games behind East-leading New York. Andy Van Slyke tripled in 2 runs here in the bottom of the 8th inning as the Pirates nipped St. Louis 3-2, snapping a 3-game losing streak. The Astros beat the Braves. San Francisco stopped Cincinnati. The Cubs crushed the Expos. Andre Dawson hitting his 13th home run. And it's the Dodgers over the Padres in the first game of a doubleheader. In the American League, Joe Carter hit a 2-run double and added his 14th home run as Cleveland crushed New York 11-3 before about 50,000 fans at Municipal Stadium. But the Yankees still lead the East Division by a half game because Detroit fell at home to Toronto. The Blue Jays' Jesse Barfield driving in the go-ahead run in the top of the 9th. Toronto won 6-4. Boston blasted Baltimore. It's Minnesota over Seattle. The Angels beating Kansas City. The White Sox blanked the Brewers. Texas is battling Oakland.
But in the 11th, the Lone Ranger run on a towering homer by Pete O'Brien. Texas defeats Oakland 5-4, which means Minnesota is only 4 games out of first so far this year. He moved into the starting rotation when Rick Aguilera was injured, and Cone has been untouchable. Most importantly for the Mets, he has been consistent. And today, in the final of a 3-game series against the Phils, don't think the Phillies didn't know who was pitching against them today. The Phils, isn't that Myron Cone there? Anyway, there they were, ready to go against David Cone, who was on top of his form. Just ask Phil Bradley. That sets the tone from Cone for the day. Kevin McReynolds here breaks out of a slump. His first homer since early in June of the 2nd inning. Takes Don Carmen out. A 1-0 Mets lead. They carry that lead into the 4th. Darryl Strawberry against Carmen. Darryl is hitting lefties and hitting them well this year. His 9th home run against a lefty this year. His 16th on the year with a man aboard. And the Mets up 3-0. Cone was cruising. Watch him against Juan Samuel. Hitless David Cone was going to the 8th inning. 7 2/3 innings of hitless baseball for David Cone. Steve Jeltz, just a 200 hitter this year. Little blooper. Can Kevin Elster get it? No. And you know that Cone knew that he had a no-hitter. Obvious disappointment. A 2-hit shutout for David Cone as the Mets win it 6-0. He was the 17th pitcher to take a no-hitter into the 7th inning this season. Cone is now 8-1 in 9 starts. His ERA is down to 1.65. The Mets have 11 shutouts, and that leads the National League in that department. Pirates stay 6.5 games behind the Mets. They beat St. Louis 3-2. Bob Walk getting all but the last out. He's won 4 of 5. Andy Van Slyke, with an RBI triple in that game, has knocked in runs in 10 straight. Larry McWilliams, who's being paid by the Pirates, pitching well for the Cardinals. And the friendly confines, just that today for the Cubbies against the Expos. First pitch of the game, Tim Raines of the Spos, watching his former teammate Andre Dawson in the alley rob him of an extra base hit. Great play by the Hawk, and he did it at the bat, too. His first home run in 2 weeks. The first one he's hit at Wrigley since the last day of May. His 13th of the year for Andre. The Cubs build a 4-1 lead. Then into the 4th inning, Rafael Palmeiro, who was 3 for 5 today, takes one over the glove of Casey Candell. Calvin Schiraldi lumbering home. Huey Brooks has been having adventures in right field this weekend. Cubs up 7-1, leading off the 5th inning. Rhino, home run number 100 for Ryan Sandberg on his career, his 10th of the season. The Cubs had it clicking today, 9-3. They sweep 3 from the Expos in Chicago for the first time this decade. Dawson had 3 RBIs, and the Cubs, a little streak for them, 4 consecutive victories.
The San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers may very well be growing sick and tired of each other. 3 games last weekend in San Diego, then because of April rains. 5 games this weekend in L.A., closing with a double dip this afternoon. Game number 1, Oral Hershiser was tough on the mound, looking for win number 10, both throwing and fielding as he makes the nice stab on the shot by John Ironmouth-Crook, and Hershiser out of the inning. Then Mike Marshall will rip one down the left field line. First inning, Keith Moreland plays it like a hand grenade. It bounces past him. Alto sacks and Kirk Gibson score. The Dodgers lead 2-0. Boom! Franklin Pickett Stubbs sends this one back, gone. Home run. The Dodgers lead at 6-1. Mike Davis has been slumping, but pinch hitting in the 6th inning off Greg Booker. 2-run home run. First homer of the year And Hershiser says, thank you very much for all the runs. I'll do the rest on the mound. Up is marked at 10-3 with a 7-hitter. Stubbs, Gibson, Davis, Dempsey, all homered in game number 1 as the Dodgers beat the compadres 12-2. Game number 2 in the 11th inning. A 2-out single by Kirk Gibson gave the Dodgers the sweep. 5-4 after the Pods had tied it with 2 out in the top of the 9th on a double by Crook and a single by Reddy, who earlier homered. So the Pods swept the doubleheader from the Dodgers on Friday night. Turnabout fair play. The Dodgers do it today. They lead by a game and a half over the Houston Astros, despite the fact that Houston enjoyed themselves in Atlanta. Top of the first inning, Craig Reynolds, boy, he's wrapped Atlanta pitching through the years, and he does the same to a Pete Smith would-be fastball, deposited over the fence for a home run. 2-0 Stroh. 2-2 in the 6th, 2 on, 2 out. Danny Theory Darwin thinks he has Albert Hall struck out, but he doesn't, and he would pay for it. Boy, was he steamed when Hall off under center. Rogero Jones can't make it. The nice attempt at the short hop. Score is 2 in Atlanta, leads it 4-2. Bruce, three-piece shooter, though, came in and surrendered 5 straight singles in the 8th inning. Terry Swimming Pools RBI single made a 5-4. And then watch the Braves here try to tie in the bottom of the 8th. I mean, Jerry Royce was kidding us with that attempted play at the plate. No, get out of here. So Suter faces 5 batters, all of them singles. It'll do wonders for your ERA. 0 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 runs. And Houston wins at Atlanta 6-4. Giants finally beat the Reds. They did it this afternoon at Riverfront 5-3. The big blow, a 3-run double by Mike Enough Aldretti. Mike Krukow went into the 9th to get his 5th win of the year. Jose blame it on Rijo, a loser for only the 2nd time this year. The Reds obviously changing their look in a hurry. Yesterday, they traded Buddy Bell to Houston. Today, they said adios to one-time ace Mario Soto, giving him his release, despite the fact that the Reds owe him the rest of his $1.2 million salary for the rest of this season. Soto 3-7 this year. At arm trouble the last couple of years. You got to think somebody will take a shot with him, certainly since they only have to pay him waiver money. But Soto and Bell no longer with the Reds, and the times they are changing.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to recognize that club by the time next spring comes quickly. Billy Martin took a half-game lead Sunday in against the Indians against Tom Candiotti, who pasted a collection of good luck charms over his locker in Cleveland before the game. Another large crowd. Another good day for the Tribe at the plate. Joe Carter ripping Rich Dotson to the gap in left center field. And this will deliver Julio Franco and Willie Upshaw and give Cleveland an early 2-0 lead. Tom Candiotti and the dancing flutter ball. How tough is it to hit? Ask Dave Winfield, who went 0 for 3. Candiotti, 10 Ks, a 6-hitter. Here in the 5th, Joe Carter, yeah, he's out of the slump. He's going to build that average back. He was 2 for 4 today. This is the 2nd hit, a solo dinger. 14th of the year for Carter. Cleveland up 4-0. Then Andy Allenson with a grand slam with the 7th off Charles Hudson. His first Major League grand slam, 4th of the year. 4th dinger for Allenson. A 3-game series attendance record of over 155,000 in Cleveland. The final 11-3. Candiotti, his 9th complete game. The Indians have 22. That leads the majors. Don Mattingly now with an 11-game win streak. The Yankees have lost 4 or 5 in Cleveland, stays 2 back. But the Tigers had a shot to take over first place playing Toronto. The Jays' Todd Stottlemyre here on the first. Plunks Alan Trammell. The bench is empty. Nothing comes of it, and the guys just exchange some restaurant recommendations. But here in the 3rd inning now, Trammell, too much pain in that elbow where he was struck. He had to leave the game. However, he will play tomorrow. The X-rays were negative. Scoreless game of the 5th, and Jesse Barfield off Doyle Alexander. Goodbye. A 3-run shot for Jesse, his 5th of the year. Toronto leads at 3-0. The Jays have 4-2, but the Tigers here rallying in the 8th. Luis Salazar, a 1-2 pitch off David Wells. Talk about just making it into the stands. It probably grazed the piping on the way over. 4-4 ties the game here in the 9th. Barfield, who had that earlier homer, takes this one to left. George Bell scores the go-ahead run. And a split of the series. The win today for the Jays, 6-4. As Wayne Ward pitched the 8th inning to pick up the victory. Barfield had 4 RBIs, and Noakes a nice night. The nice afternoon was 4 for 4. The Bo Sox just were all over Dickie Knowles today, who left this 15-7 defeat with an ERA of 24.3. He should sell while he's up. 15-7. Everybody in the Boston lineup got a base hit. 23 hits. That's the most by one club this year in the bigs.
If extra innings are your fetish, then we hope that you spent the weekend in Oakland, where the A's and Rangers went into extra stanzas all 3 games. Oakland won in 14 Friday, 13 Saturday. Today they showed some clutch hitting late as well, but was it enough? Let's start at the beginning. Here we go in Oakland. Top of the 1st inning. Pete O'Brien takes this pitch from Riders on the Storm Davis down the left field line. Sierra scores. O'Brien with a double, 2-0 Strangers. It's 3-0 in the second inning, and they have a couple of men on, second and first. Ruben High Sierra with a base hit up the middle. Curtis Wilkerson scored very quickly, 4-0 Texas. But boy, the A's score a lot in the late innings. And with 2 out of the 9th, Craig McMurtry with a 4-3 lead faces pinch hitter Dave Parker. It's inside, but who cares, said Parker. Says one with 2 out, gone. And with 1 out to go, the Rangers find themselves tied by Parker's homer. We're tied at 4 in the 11th inning. But this time, it's Texas's turn to say out. Rick Honeycutt lays one into Pete O'Brien, who lays one into the right field stands despite Canseco's nice effort. And Texas finally wins one in extra innings. See, when it's less than 13, they have a shot. In 11, Texas beat Oakland 5-4. Meanwhile, here come the Twins. They've won 5 in a row. They are now 4 out, and that's the smallest lead Oakland's had since May the 1st. They beat Seattle today, did Minnesota 3-1. Gaetti drove in all 3 ones. Burt B. Home Bly 11 gets the win. At Kansas City, the Royals were hot, but suddenly against the Angels, they are not. Mike Witt goes 8 2/3 of scoreless innings. That's now 21 2/3 for him in a row. California beat Kansas City 5-0. At Milwaukee, boy, that score is popular. Chicago beats the Brewhouse 5-0. Dave Dolt LaPointe with his first win in a month.
National League, the West, with the Dodgers are fighting off charging Houston, and to do that today meant a long day against the pesky Padres. And San Diego's given L.A. fits this year. In the first game, though, it was Kirk Gibson swinging a hot bat with the other way again. Yet another home run. This is 14th of the year, and what could Jack McKeon do in Game 1? Because he could sit back and watch Oral Hershiser simply control his team. Marvell win with a little flare towards left. Watch this. John Shelby giving chase. Here's Gibson to Shelby. Who's going to get it? You got it. I got it. Oh, my. And Shelby finally did take it. And then Hershiser helped himself. Nice stab off here. And then with the runner off first through to second. Oh, yeah, we got the force there. And then the double play at first as they managed to turn it. And the Dodgers took the Padres out big time. 12-2 in the first game. Hershiser picking up win number 10 on the year. So they went to the nightcap with the Dodgers looking for the sweep and a chance to pull well ahead of Houston. Early on, Mike Sharp's person bounces one. Dickie Thon looks like he's got it and booted it. Everybody's safe and a run scores. Dodgers led 4-3 in the third. Top of the ninth, though. Randy Reddy against Jesse Orozco. Base hit to center field. John Shelby up and throwing, trying to get John Kruk, who come lumbering and home to tie the game to send it to extra innings. Dodgers put a man on second in the 10th. Jeff Hamilton then bounced one up the middle. Gary Templeton on his knee threw out Hamilton and kept the game even. But the Dodgers then got another man to second, and Kirk Gibson again blooped one toward right. Tony Gwynn picked it up barehanded, gave it a shot towards home, but it wasn't going to be enough to get Dave Anderson, and the Dodgers pulled it out in extra innings in a long but very profitable afternoon for Los Angeles. 5-4 in the second game, and so Houston had to win just to stay within striking distance of the Dodgers. Couldn't make up any ground. You win and lose. It doesn't seem right. Albert Hall blooping one to center field. Flare that falls in front of Gerald Young. He kicked it. A pair of runs scored, and the Braves led 4-2 in the sixth. Same score in the eighth when they went to their ace, Bruce Sutter, who got drilled by the Astros. Danny Walling with a little bleeder that scored Billy Hatcher to tie the game. Then Terry Poole came up and bounced one through the drawn-in infield to right that created the game-winning run. Russ Nixon couldn't bear to watch. And the eighth, the Braves had a chance. Ken Oberg fell up with a couple on, but he bounced one to Glenn Davis, who looked twice and then threw home, and they had Jerry Royster dead to right at home plate as the Astros held on for a 6-4 victory. And despite the win, though, lose a half game and are now a game and a half back at the Dodgers in the National League West. In Cincinnati, the Giants reclaimed sole possession of third. Mike Aldretti's 3-run double, the big blow, handing Jose Rio his first loss of the year. A couple of notes involving the Reds. Starting outfielder Cal Daniels now listed as day-to-day after crashing the wall trying to get Aldretti's double today. And the Reds also released veteran Mario Soto, citing Soto's recurring arm troubles and the fact that manager Pete Rose says that Soto's last 4 or 5 starts have been, quote, horrible, unquote. Cincinnati let the 31-year-old veteran go.
Well, the New York Mets have been around for 27 seasons of Major League Baseball, but there's one accomplishment you will not find in their total history. Through all their great campaigns and even the ones which stunk a little bit, not one Mets pitcher, not Seaver, not Ryan, not Gooden, has ever fashioned a no-hitter while wearing the Mets pinstripes. Well, today, another bid was made, this time by David Cone, facing the Phils at Shea. And there are Cone heads everywhere at Shea Stadium, even in the Phillies dugout. Steve Bedrosian, very handsome there. Anyway, David Cone pitched well early on. Watch him facing Phil Bradley and then hook at him right there to end the Phillies' half of the second inning. Little breaking ball. Bottom of the fourth inning, he got some offensive support from Darryl Strawberry, who crushes a Don Carmen pitch. Deep to right field, and it'll be a 2-deck job. Almost got all the way up. two-run homer, 16th of the year. Keith Miller scores ahead of him, 3-0 Mets. Top 7, Cone with a no-hitter going through 6 2/3, showing some good defense, getting off the mound in a hurry, throwing out Mike Schmidt to get out of the inning. The Cone heads, the real ones, smelling the no-hitter. Could be, but in the top of the 8th, 2-out Steve Jeltz, looper in the middle, just past Kevin Elster at short to break up the no-hit bid. Cone ends up with a 2-hitter. Not bad, but not as good as he wanted, I'm sure. Final 6-0 2-hitter. He'll take it. That ERA of his is down to 1.65, second best in the league behind Tudor. A crackling fastball was his ticket today. In Pittsburgh, the Pirates trying to win one of 3
game series against division-leading New York brought 155,000 fans to Municipal Stadium, including nearly 50,000 today, who rocked through a rocky Yankee afternoon. Much to their delight, the Indians bombed New York, and it was the big guy, Joe Carter, having an incredible, I'm going to say almost an MVP start so far. Look at this long fly into the gap in left center, plating a couple of runs. Carter wasn't through by any means. This in the first inning. In the 5th, Cleveland up 3-0, and Carter was at it again. Boy, he was just a terror at the plate today. This time, this one gets out of the ballpark. His 14th home run of the year. It's 4-0. Yankees pulled it within 5-3. Billy Martin very nervous, though. So was Tim Stoddard when the Indians loaded the bases, and guess who was at the plate? Yep, Joe Carter. Stoddard so nervous he threw the ball over everybody and not allowed to run to score as Andy Allison came home. And in the 7th, Mel Hall then got the payback a little bit. He took exception to the fact that he thought Stoddard may have brushed him back a little too close. Bench is empty. Nobody really threw any punches, but the Indians landed the big blow of the day, decking the Yanks 11-3. Andy Allison's home run, a grand slam. Tom Cadniotti's 9th complete game this season. He had 10 strikeouts. He snapped a 5-game personal losing skid, and the Tribe now back within 2 of the Yanks. To Detroit, where the Tigers looking to grab first place if they could beat Toronto. Todd Stottlemyre nails, and I mean, ouch, hit Alan Trammell right in the left elbow. Trammell tried to play, but had to go out of the game a little bit later. A little bit of tempers flared as a result of that hitting. Meanwhile, Rance Mulliniks went the other way. Watch Luis Salazar track it down and haul it in just in front of the fence and left. Toronto led 4-2 in the 8th when Salazar came to the plate, and this one nobody was going to catch as he drilled it out to tie the game at 4. And so Detroit was in business. But in the 9th, Jesse Barfield, he of the trade rumors, got around on one. He had already homered. This time a base hit to left, scoring George Bell. What trade, right? As the Jays hold off the Tigers 6-4. And so the Tigers fail to take advantage of the Yankees' loss, stay a half game back. But tomorrow, the Yankees open a series in Detroit. Meanwhile, Chicago blanked Milwaukee 5-0. Gary Redus, the big day, 3 hits and 3 stolen bases. And the Bo Sox drilled a Major League season-high 23 hits off the O's pitching to bomb Baltimore.
Well, nobody ever told Tony La Russa and his Oakland Athletics that this thing was going to be easy. Back on the 4th of June, the A's led the American League West by 11 games, and they have been digging in and hanging on ever since. Kansas City is coming. The Twins are coming. The Rangers are stressing them out. They extended the A's to 14 innings on Friday, 13 yesterday, and this afternoon, more of the same, working overtime. Top of the 2nd inning, Rangers are up 2-0, looking for more with the bases juiced. Scott Fletcher flares a Storm Davis curveball down the right field line, and Jose Canseco with a great catch. But Steve Buechele scores as he tags up. Still a great catch. And how many times have you seen it? Great catch, and 4 innings later, the guy comes back and drills a 2-run shot to left field. It is gone. The Bash cutting the lead to 1, 4-3. Now Craig McMurtry in the 9th trying to nail it down with 2 outs, but Dave Parker, he spins on one and gets it to go. All tied up at 4 apiece. So we go to the 11th. Pete O'Brien of Texas crunches one deep. Rick Honeycutt gave it up, a 3-2 pitch, long gone, 5-4 in favor of Texas, but the drama's not done yet. Oakland still got a shot, but Parker is blown away by Mitch Williams right there, 5-4. Texas hangs on a win. By the way, it was O'Brien's first long one since May 5, and just look at the A's lead now. Only 4 games over Minnesota. Kansas City just 6.5 back in 3rd after their game with the Angels today. Witt hasn't been touched for a run in 21 2/3 innings. The Angels with the first series sweep in Kansas City in some 9 years. Minnesota continuing to stalk the A's, playing a pretty good game at Seattle. Bottom 5, Twins, Gary Gaetti gets into one. A solo home run to left field. Mike Moore's the guy who surrendered this big fly. 13th homer of the year for Gaetti, and the Twins are up 1-0. New M's manager, Jim Snyder, gets tossed out for arguing balls and strikes. Well, maybe he didn't want to stick around for the end. And, you know, either they had a lot of ants in that Twins dugout or Tom Kelly's giving signs. I'm not sure which. Anyway, 8th inning, tied up at 1. Gaetti comes through again. He singles to left field off Mike Jackson. Newman scores. Puckett scores right behind him. Now, look at this great play by Jim Presley. Seattle third baseman, super stop and even better peg over to first base. And, boy, we saw some great plays in this. Steve Lombardozzi's the guy that got retired. Jeff Reardon pitched out of a bases-loaded jam in the 8th inning, getting Phelps to pop up. Reardon gets the save. The Twins get the win, 3-1 the final score. That's the bad news for the Mariners. Now, the good news. Pitcher Steve Trout has come back up from Calgary in the PCL. He will start on Tuesday night in Texas. He is back after recovering from that broken little finger on his left.